back to Attingham Park and episode 2 of this Maize Plus Let's Play. You'll see here we have in the shed a whole load of straw. I harvested the 3 grain fields that we have. So we have 150,000 litres of wheat nearly in the silo, 80,000 litres of barley and 10,000 litres of oats. So we will use that at some point to make some grain mix. A few other things that I got done. So I mowed the big grass field and baled that for silage. And I learnt that you really want to condition your grass to wrap for silage, because the wet, fresh grass gives you a 1.2 ton bale. The conditioned grass gives you an 900 kilo bale, and you get more grass in it. So yeah, definitely condition, or possibly even TED to semi-dry. So we've got some manure now. We've got 7,000 litres of manure. You might want to TED to semi-dry even your silage. You'll get more in the bale and it'll weigh less. So there are the cows. They are doing okay for feeding, just off the grazing that we've got, and the same for the sheep. I'm actually going to buy another 15 cows. I think we'll be okay with upping it to that. I have worked out that means over the year we are eventually going to need about 1.6 million litres of feed for the cows, which is pretty nuts. I put some straw in as well, and then we've done some renovations on the yard. So the house is gone, and we have my mini BGA, just so that we can show off how BGAs work. So the silage recipe becomes whole crop silage. We get a maize silage one, and we get a grass silage one. The grass silage gives you 70% less electricity and methane, because there's less energy in grass silage apparently. So that's how they've set it up. And then we've also put this shed in here, where there was a useless building, and I found this gate into the field, which I've cleared off, and we're using it as an access. There's a couple of spare silage bales there. And Hilly Farms, one of the patrons on the channel, has made me a cow pasture to put in there. So that'll be appearing hopefully in video number 3, which I really appreciate. Thanks for sorting that out for me. Over here we have a JCB that I leased to do some of the carting for the grain harvesting. And today we're going to be doing some maize silage. We're going to do that 2 ways. First way is we're going to lease the Multi Baler. So this was released a couple of days ago. I'll put a link for it below if I remember. Made by the DSA team, who make the modular BGA, and it requires MaizePlus, and it lets you bale all the standard stuff. Obviously it works behind a forage harvester, so it's great for things like maize silage, 6 grand to lease. But also you can bale TMR, beet pulp, and what's the other one, CCM. So yeah, you can make some CCM bales, some TMR bales, and so you can ferment the CCM in the bales, and you can ferment beet pulp in the bales, which is really cool. So one field we're going to use the Multi Baler, and the other we're going to do traditionally in a pit. I should have done these the other way around, really. I quite like my silage in bales, so yeah. You'll notice it doesn't quite hook up properly. I think they are working on an adapter to go between the forage harvester and the baler, so it's neater to hook up. The other thing is, when you can't switch the baler on, but it turns on when you switch the forage harvester on, and the icon doesn't light up either, but it is working. Also, you need to watch your speed, because you can go faster than the baler can handle. So yeah. In this field I didn't have too much of an issue, but there were some heavy bits of the crop that I had to slow down on. And I forgot that GB is really cool and has his triggers on the gate. Just to pick up on a couple of comments on the video that I've had on the last video. Obviously it's been significantly more popular than my videos usually are, which is really cool. Really like that. So first one was on the graphic settings and the ring of death that you can see off in the distance. The reason that I don't have the graphic settings really turned up is because I'm playing on a 4-year-old laptop, I think it is, which means that I can't max the graphics out at the moment. The computer that I normally use to play FS and record videos is currently away with the manufacturer, having a new motherboard put in it. It's away with the manufacturer because it's a laptop, because I play on a laptop, because that suits how I play. and that meant that it had to go away to be repaired. And they only had one spare motherboard in stock, and they put that one in and it failed, so they've had to order another one. Let's ignore me accidentally closing the forage header for a second. So yeah, that's that one. The other one is I seem to have a lot of kit and a lot of money. As I explained in the first video, this is not a traditional Let's Play. This is more of a, I'm trying to think, it's like a play-along tutorial. So I want to show you how I use bits of maizePlus as I would play the game normally, but not with the limit of having to progress through the game. So you know, I have most of the kit on the farm that I would need. There's some bits missing at the moment, and I'm planning to add in precision farming as well, which is why there are some bits missing. For example, a weeder, because we're going to be doing see and spray. But I wanted to harvest first before I added in precision farming. Yeah, so we have a lot of kit, we have a lot of land, it's a very big farm. If I need to, I will add more money in. This is not about progressing through the game. This is about me showing you actively in the game how I use maizePlus. So yeah, it's not a proper series. If you want a proper Let's Play series that will have maizePlus in it, go check out my Maypole Farm series. From the next video on there, that will have maizePlus, and that is playing on what I'm calling hard mode. Maybe different how you play hard mode, but it's how I'm doing it. And that's got some cool stuff in it, which I'll explain in the next video on there. So I'm not going to show you all of this, because this is kind of the idea. You can just drive around with the baler behind you. The hopper fills up, as you can see it's doing now, and the bale is full at the moment because there's a bale being wrapped and there's a bale in the chamber, and that's why I said you have to be careful of the speed, because there we're full, everything's full. So you have to wait a little bit, because now the chamber will empty into the baler and we can get going again. So we've got a bale in the chamber, we've got a bale being wrapped, and we're filling up the hopper on the front. So yeah, you can have effectively 3 bales on the go at once with this. And we have quite a wide header. I think it's a 9-meter header on the Crone. So obviously if you had a slightly smaller header, you wouldn't have quite so much problem with the volume of crop coming in. I think this is quite a well fertilized field. But yeah, this is really cool. This is game changing. So if I can find it, I will stick a picture up on the screen of how I used to do this, using a forage harvester, trailer with a grain door, and a baler on follow me. It worked, but it was really not at all realistic. This is realistic. This is a real thing, apparently. Chatting to, I think Paul mentioned it on one of the streams a while ago. It's something you can buy to attach to a baler, and it works like this. So yeah, it's real. It's really cool. And yeah, it's available on the DSA Discord, which I will try and remember to link below. If I forget, you can get the link through the maizePlus Discord as well. And I think the link is on my Discord. So yeah, I think that was all the comments I wanted to pick up, apart from the fact that everyone was immensely positive over the weekend on the tutorial videos, which I really appreciate. I think there were only 3 negative comments out of a lot, and that was quite heartwarming, quite enlightening, quite nice. It was interesting for me being inside the release of maizePlus rather than the outside as I have been previously. Yeah, it was kind of cool trying to help out with the support bits where I can. I'm a well-informed player, I think. I certainly do not understand all of the details of the code in maizePlus. I've played with it for a bit longer than you lot have, but you know, that's pretty much it. And you know, my kind of understanding from FS19 and a love of XML. There's been quite a lot of questions about animal feeding and how much they eat, and they eat too much and all that kind of thing. So I am going to do a video, depending on how time goes. It may come out tomorrow, we'll see, on how much the different breeds of cow eat, how that works per month and per day, how much milk and manure and slurry and that kind of thing you get. I know it seems really intimidating when we say they eat 10 times more, but realistically, you probably need 10 times less cows. So yeah, I'll go through that and try and explain it, and hopefully it will make sense. I might also show a bit of TMR mixing, because I have had someone ask me about how do you mix the different TMR recipes. So I might do that at the same time. We'll see. I haven't actually prepped a video yet, and I would like to try and squeeze in recording it today, but I don't have much time for that. So anyway, we're going to cut in, but actually what I'm going to do is I'm just going to run down this first cut in. I don't have, I usually run VCA for GPS. I don't have it enabled on here at the moment. I am trying, because as I said, I'm playing on an old laptop. I'm trying to minimize the mods that I have active when I don't need them. So yeah. For example, at the moment, I don't have auto drive in here, but I will be adding it in to do the maize silage or the pit silage, and then I'll take it straight back out again. So it's just a way of managing playing on a much older or lower powered computer and trying to record video at the same time. So yeah, we'll drop that one off, and then yeah, you see I'm kind of struggling with getting around the bales, so we've brought the JCB over. Yeah, as I said, I leased this because one of our grain fields is right down towards Brompton Farm, and the cart was quite long, so I really like the big JCB tractors, so I leased one because I don't have my normal constraints on spending on here. So having a tractor that could do 44 miles an hour was a really big help for getting to and from the farm. We are on to 3-day months now. The time scale I'm just going to vary around as I need to get jobs done, basically. Yeah, it's not really, again, same as I'm not putting financial constraints, I'm not putting time constraints on how I play this one. I just want to demonstrate how I do things. You will see we have quite a lot of bales. Maize does yield really well, as you kind of know, for silage, and that turns into a lot of bales, which is partly why I wanted to do some baled silage and some pit silage. Yeah, there are some drawbacks of doing silage in a bunker, which I'll come to when we get around to using it, or when people start asking. So yeah, I do generally prefer to use baled silage with maizePlus. I think it works a bit better with some of the limitations of the game. Yeah, you can see that ring of death there, which is really quite annoying. I wish I could turn the game settings up, but unfortunately I cannot. So yeah, we are where we are at the moment. I think I've got at least a week, maybe 3 weeks before I get my good laptop back. Just how it is. Those observant amongst you may notice that this is a slightly different format to the last video, and this is generally how I make my videos. So I record everything in advance, I edit it, and then I sit and talk to you about random stuff, including what's going on the screen and all sorts of other things. So yeah, that's how I make my videos. The previous one was just I had an opportunity to sit and do it the way that it was, and yeah, actually I was kind of amazed how well that did. There doesn't seem, well, from my quick search on YouTube, there doesn't seem to be much maizePlus content out yet, which means I'm in kind of a privileged position, I guess, of having had maizePlus for a while. Yeah, it's how it is, and it's kind of crazy how much the channel is growing. I do want to say at this point, actually, thank you to all of the YouTube channel members and the patrons. There are a couple of new ones in there as well, and I really do appreciate you supporting me. Regulars to the channel, things have not been normal lately, obviously with the computer issues and doing lots of bits for maizePlus. There's 12, 13 videos released on for Saturday, obviously. So yeah, I do appreciate you guys hanging around, and to the new people, thank you for supporting the channel. It is really appreciated, it really helps out. Eventually it will help out with some of these IT issues, so that's the long-term goal. And all the new subscribers, and all the people that have watched and commented and clicked like, and the few of you that have clicked dislike. Yeah, it all feeds the algorithm, so let's not complain too much. Yeah, here we go, it's dropped the first load of bales off. Hopefully, if you're playing on Calmston, you have seen on Oxy's Discord the grazing areas files released. They are also on my Discord. I set those up, hopefully they are okay. So yeah, I want to, and I haven't really attempted to yet, reach out to GB and see if he is happy either see if he's interested in updating the map, or happy for me to release the files that you would need to sort grazing on Attingham, because it's obviously a really popular map. And speaking of map updates, the next video on Maypole will be using the latest new version from Cavalier. He sent me that yesterday. So I've been playing on pre-released versions of it for a while now, because he seems to like my stuff, which is cool, and so he sent me over some early copies of the maps that are in testing, and he's now updated Maypole again so that all of the sheep, cow and horse pastures support grazing, with the foliage areas mapped to the fields that they're in, so that's really cool. And he's also added in the new lighting that was released over the weekend, so yeah, I haven't had a chance to play on it yet. I've just got it set up, so I'm looking forward to seeing that. Okay, pit signage. Basically it's the same as standard FS22, pretty much. In fact it is, you just get maize silage out of it rather than silage. So I'm going to put the forage harvester on course play, and I have a really basic auto drive setup. All it is a loop from the field here back into the yard next to the silage bunker, because I prefer to tip silage into the pit myself. I know I have tutorials on how to use auto drive to do it, but I prefer to do it myself personally because I can manage the compacting and where it goes. So we're just setting up course play, pretty normal course. The only thing I should have done differently is I should have gone for up-down rows instead of islands, but you know, it still works fine. I tend to like to use islands for all of my harvesting, but I think with the forage harvester up-down possibly works better. Depends how auto drive handles the turns these days. I am going to cart the headland myself, just the first one, just to open it up a bit so there's space for the auto drive carters to work. And I never know how much to show of forage harvesting. I find it really difficult to record forage harvesting, and so yeah, there'll be some pretty big jumps in here, and I think there may or may not be a time lapse. And he edited this 12 hours, not even 12 hours ago, 8 hours ago. So I have been busy watching the TV coverage on Monday. And that's all I'm going to mention of that, because this is about Farm Sim and maizePlus. It seems like the release of maizePlus went fairly smoothly. There are obviously a few mod conflicts with some script mods. There are some issues, I believe, with the modular BGA from DSA, which I know they are working on in the background. And I think there are a couple of other things that just need tweaking. I've not seen the complete list because quite a lot of the activity on the maizePlus Discord is in German, and sadly I only speak English, so and there's only so many pages that I can copy and paste into Google Translate in a day. Saturday was interesting for me. So it's the first time I've been involved in a mod release like this. I've got my own mods, but they're nothing like this. And yeah, it was pretty hectic. So I'm just sending that one back to the yard on auto drive. When it hit Mod Hub earlier than I expected it to, and I had to finish prepping all those videos for release, and to release them I had to release the playlist. I found that the link to the maizePlus Discord I had on all my videos was broken, so I had to update that, and then I had to do a bunch of quick updates to the PDFs to add in all the links for those, and then basically sitting on Discord and YouTube dealing with comments and questions and things. My YouTube channel has had something like a week's worth of activity in a day. I think I'm sitting at about right. Yeah, about 7 times the views and way more comments than I would get, and it's a total first world problem. But it got a bit overwhelming at times. So we got JCB here at the pit, and I said I'm going to manually manage the tipping because it's what I prefer. I have done a video completely with this all automated. All of the only thing that I was doing was compacting the pit. I did have a video with early versions of auto drive and course play doing 2 forage harvesters and 2 or 3 carters. doing it all automated. It works. But I was trying to, I wanted to manage the pit because compacting a big pit afterwards takes a lot of time, and I didn't want to spend a lot of time compacting the pit. And B, sometimes I find auto drive, if you don't have a well set up course, which I don't on here at the moment, literally I spent 2 minutes recording the loop, it can make it a little bit slower. So I was jumping in to speed things up basically. Yeah, I tend to use auto drive for, I know a lot of people like using auto drive for delivering things and stuff. I tend to use it for carting, for harvesting and foraging. That's pretty much it. On my Calmsden save that I'm waiting, I can't play until I get my laptop back because it's got too many mods and stuff in it. I do have an auto drive route set up, and I do use it for moving things like slurry around. So yeah, but I don't use auto drive a lot, so that's why I haven't bothered with an auto drive route on here. So we're just going to get a bit of compacting and leveling done. This is exactly the same as base game. You know, it behaves the same. The bit where things are different are when it comes to unloading the pit, and that is a limitation of FS22. And that limitation is that once you've got, you know, say maize silage in a bucket, you can't tip it back in the pit, and that's fine. The slight issue is that with the way buckets behave in FS22, you can end up with the bucket being overloaded, and as soon as you get out of the clamp, it emptying a bit on the floor. It's more of an annoyance than an issue, but it's something to be aware of. And what I did in a lot of my later testing with maizePlus is I used an auger in the clamp, and that would mean that I could, it's got a bit stormy now and a bit dark. This does blow over, but yeah, it's kind of stormy. The wind was quite impressive. Yeah, what I ended up doing was using a belt system or an auger put in the pit, and it meant you could just drive the feeding. Two benefits: one, you didn't have that issue, and two, it meant you could just drive the feeding wagon under the auger and put in the amount you wanted. I did it on FS19 in Homeworld when it wasn't even an issue. It's just a quicker way of getting it into the mixer. So yeah. There's your option if you don't want to deal with that. I think there's an auger in the AGI pack that picks up off the floor, which I think should work. I was using the auto load version of the Grimmy, which I think is available on Mod Hub. I probably got it off King Mods, but I'm not so keen on King Mods at the moment, with them I think still having Greenbale's map on there, Northern Coast. It was there the last time I looked anyway. So be more cautious with King Mods at the moment, I think. Yeah, so just getting towards the end now. We're on the last set of lands, and auto drive is running, and for some reason it goes on a merry little journey to try and get back to the forage harvester. It's just good that it doesn't destroy crop. I ended up turning crop destruction off for this harvest because occasionally auto drive would get stuck in the middle of the field and I would have to jump in and would then start destroying crop. So yeah, just going to let this fill up, and then I think we've got 1 or 2 more trailers to do, and then we'll get it compacted and covered. So in the next video, I think I'm going to focus on feeding the sheep and getting the food in for those, and getting food sorted for them for the winter. They will only graze for so long. So yeah, we're going to have a look at that. Might have a look at also, yeah, that was the other thing I wanted to do in the next one, is planning our planting for next year to cover the feed that we need for the animals. So I'd like to, if I can, not have to buy food in. It's kind of difficult with maizePlus as it is at the moment, but my plan is to try and plant as much as I can so that I don't have to buy too much in. So I'm going to go through that as well. Hopefully we have enough fields. I might end up splitting field 33, which is the big one you can see, into 2. But yeah, I'm going to go through what I plan to plant, why I plan to plant it. We've still got sugar beet to harvest, and we've still got a grass field to cut as well. But yeah, we're just going to work through the different crops that we need for the cows and the sheep that we have. I'm doing cows and sheep because they're the animals that I generally use in FS. Pigs are a tricky one because they're really hard to make money on. Chickens, they're kind of okay. Horses, you know, are a bit of a mixed bag. If you want to see those working, you could And it's shameless plug time. You could join my Patreon, where I do have a series on furling, where I have chickens. I don't have pigs. I have everything else with pigs. I have dairy, I have sheep, I have horses, and I have chickens. And I will be doing maizePlus on there as well. And that is quite small scale, small equipment kind of farm. But that is, just for the guys on Patreon, because they give me money, so they get extra content, part of the deal. Yeah, so in terms of content on here, there'll be more tutorials coming as I see the need, like the one on how to feed cows in a bit more detail. Any others that people think are missing, put in the comments. And yeah, we'll be playing on Attingham and Maypole for a bit, with a few standard tutorials mixed in as well, because I like doing those. And then once the repaired laptop comes back, we'll have to have a review of where we go. I've got the Greenland's £10 million debt challenge paused, and my Calmsden series paused, and I would like to bring them both back, so we will have to wait and see. I think both of them will be getting maizePlus in some form or other. Greenlands will be interesting because I have an awful lot of cows on there, and I don't want to get rid of them, so yeah. We may do some tailoring on there of the amount of food that they eat and that kind of thing, or I may have to stretch out the days a lot. We'll see. So you can see I have kind of been working on shaping and compacting the pit. This is what I tend to do. I tend to kind of heap it up at the back and then ramp my way from there. No idea if that's, I guess, kind of realistic. I think that's kind of what Tom Pemberton does on his stuff, so yeah. I think I've covered all of the bits that I really wanted to talk about. Yeah, it's just been kind of weird as a very small YouTube channel suddenly getting so many views. It's a good thing. It's definitely a good thing, particularly as most things have been really positive. So yeah, hoping that it hangs on for a bit. And I don't know. I don't think they watch my stuff. I think Paul watches my tutorials because he likes them, but I really do appreciate the farming agency and being officially part of the farming agency. I started out as the guy who would come into their streams and chat because I spoke English, and they thought it would be good to have a native English speaker, and because Paul liked the tutorials that I did. I then became the English ambassador for the farming agency, and I am now, I think, just part of the farming agency. So yeah, that's really weird and really cool. I don't do any of the really clever stuff that they do with making these mods, but I help test, I help you guys understand. I have bug fixed at least one thing, which I'm kind of proud of. And I found a couple of issues when I was testing it because I play differently to how they play. So yeah, and hopefully I can bring a slightly different aspect of things to the official farming agency content on maizePlus. So I do appreciate as well some of the other creators maybe hanging off on throwing their content out super quick. To let mine breathe a little bit. I'm sure there are some big creators out there who are desperate to get tutorials out on this stuff, and as yet I've not seen anything. So if that is intentional, I really do appreciate you giving my channel a chance to breathe and grow. Yeah. So we just got a little bit of final compacting to do now, and then we'll get the little Manitou out. So what I didn't mention, with those wet grass or fresh grass silage bales, the mini Manitou couldn't pick them up. The little class that you can see by the side of the pit, got a front loader for that, even with the weight on the back, couldn't pick 4 up. And I was trying to stack them in 4s. I thought the bale fork was bugged. I ended up leasing the bigger Manitou, the big brother of the one that I've got, and that worked just fine-ish. It was about the limit it could pick up, so definitely condition your grass before you make it into silage. I'm pretty sure it feels really realistic to me. Again, Tom Pemberton reference, they always ted out their grass before they chop it for silage. They're trying to get it semi-dry. So yeah, and I think So with what I did, the conditioned grass, you've got 5,500 litres in a bale. The wet grass or fresh grass, you've got 5,000. You may get 6 if you do semi-dry. I'm not sure. I haven't tested it. So yeah, it's definitely something to think about. But here we go. This bucket looks immense on here. I think it's just the standard base game one. It's just because the Manitou is so small. I do think we might need to replace this with its big brother. I got this one because it's really cool for doing stuff around the yard because it's really small. But I'm thinking that actually we need the big brother. Rather than leasing it, we might need to trade this in and buy the big brother. And I did do all of the really slightly ropey bale stacking in the shed over there with the big Manitou, and it worked really well. I had 2 really neat stacks of straw bales in that shed, and then I caught the edge of one as I was putting the third in, and it unsettled it all completely. But one of the things I'm enjoying in FS22 is the improved bale physics and actually being able to stack bales. So yeah, I did think about using the Casa Farms bale storage shed that I use on Greenlands, and we were going to be using on the Nebraska multiplayer when I get my laptop back. But there isn't a lot of space on here to fit new stuff in. Obviously we had to make space for the BGA, and there's lots of sheds, and I like bale stacking, so yeah, those are all manually stacked. It's took a little while, but you know. Right, last little bit of compacting to do, and then we can get this covered. So as you can see, it's pretty much the same. So we've done maize silage baling and pit silage with maize. Next time we'll talk about crop planting for feeding the animals, and might do a bit of field work in the background. We've got some grass work to do as well, that kind of thing. So yeah, thanks for watching everyone. If you enjoyed this, click the like button. If you didn't, click the dislike button. Do not smash the like button. If you smash it, you have to buy me a coffee or a Monster. Comment if you've got questions below, and if you are new to the channel and you haven't yet, click subscribe. Catch you next time.